Sometimes in personal development, we just get to come back to the basics. I was snowboarding on the weekend, and if you guys have been around these parts for a while, you know it's literally my favorite thing to do ever. It just brings me so much joy. And as I was snowboarding, I was in an active practice of just really activating my gratitude and my aliveness by just being grateful for every single little tiny thing. And it just made me realize how regulating gratitude is. Like really, truly being grateful. I'm like, I'm so grateful for these boots that are keeping my feet so comfortable. I'm so grateful for the snow. I'm so grateful for these trees. I'm so grateful for these mittens that are keeping my hands warm. And as I was flowing through being grateful for the seemingly insignificant things, my body was feeling so calm, so regulated, so present. And so it made me just really remember the basics of gratitude and letting gratitude be not just a mindset, like I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for this, but really letting it be a somatic, energetic, emotional experience of allowing our body to really feel the depths, really, really, really feel the gratitude. And just see how that lands on your system. If your body's feeling anxious, or if you're caught in scarcity, or if your brain is taking you to these like dark, stupid places that will never actually happen. Like, I'm going to lose all my money, whatever it is, right? How can we just bring gratitude back into the conversation? Because there's no end to gratitude. There's no end to the things that we get to be grateful for. And the interesting thing is it doesn't matter if you're grateful for $1 million or you're grateful for a little sip of coffee, right? It doesn't matter how grand it is. It just choose anything, focus on anything. Because when we do that, we rewire our focus, we regulate our nervous system, we clear our mind, we open our hearts, and we're just feeling ultimately more alive. Speaking of gratitude, I am so grateful. I have my dear friend Kate Northrup on the podcast today. If you have not been in Kate's world, I feel so grateful that I get the opportunity to share her with you. She is just absolutely extraordinary. I've known of Kate for about 10 years now. We've been hanging out online together, but I had the pleasure of meeting her about 6 months ago. And from the moment I met her, I was like, you are the real freaking deal. She uses like a neuroscience-backed method to help people heal their relationships with money. She's the author of the bestsellers Money, A Love Story, and Do Less. And she's a host of the top-ranked podcast Plenty. Her work has been featured by the New York Times, Oprah Daily, The Today Show, Glamour, Harvard Business Review, and more. She lives with her husband, who is also her business partner, and her daughters in Miami. Kate is also hosting a 3-day workshop called Good with Money to reset your money patterns from the inside out and to help you rewire how your body responds to wealth. I am going to be doing this because I think money work is some of the best work that we could do, especially as leaders, entrepreneurs, people who are working with money every single day. If we can learn to have a healthy, abundant, safe relationship with money, we will really, truly set our lives on fire and our businesses on fire in the best possible way. So if you want to join Kate's 3-day challenge, I've put the link to join in the show notes. Go fill your boots. I'm so excited for you to experience her. And before we dive into today's episode, I want to share one little thing. When I first started out as a mindset coach, right when I graduated, I thought I had it all figured out. I had the certifications, the journal prompts, the affirmations, the frameworks, the blueprints. I had it all. But as I got into coaching, I was realizing that something deep was missing. My clients were like getting it intellectually, but they weren't really changing. I wasn't seeing this sustainable change with them. And everything shifted the day that I started adding breathwork into their coaching business. And when I first started teaching breathwork, I just did a little bit of breathwork at the beginning, a little bit of breathwork at the end, and the results that I saw were astounding. I knew that that was the missing link between knowing and embodying, between insight and transformation. So when I eventually went deeper into breathwork and started really integrating it into my business, everything skyrocketed. Clients were experiencing these insane quantum shifts, some in just one session. And I realized there is no such thing as one-way healing. As my clients were having these crazy transformations, these beautiful breakthroughs, I was being healed as I was healing them. That's when I knew I'm going to do this work for the rest of my life. And that's exactly what we teach inside the Pause Breathwork Facilitator Program. This isn't just a certification. This is a portal to becoming a competent trauma-informed coach, to become a confident trauma-informed facilitator, building a purpose-driven business that actually changes lives and lights you up. And the beautiful part is you get to do that deep inner work in the process. Our grads are now earning anywhere between $5,000 to $15,000 a month, helping others come home to themselves through the power of the breath. So if you are listening right now and you have that fire inside of you, you have that deep desire to change the world, then this might be your invitation. Head on over to pausebreathwork.com/facilitator to apply for the next class. All right, my loves, let's dive right into today's conversation.
Can't be contained. That's what I'm talking about.
I am so happy that you're here.
This is so fun. Thanks for having me.
Oh my goodness, of course. Thanks for coming to San Diego.
I know. My pleasure. My pleasure. It's far away from Miami.
It's on the other side of the country.
I could be in Europe.
But
I'm
literally,
not.
I know. Our
California.
family lives over in Florida. I'm like, y'all, you guys live so far away.
Yeah, but I come a lot, and I'm happy to be here.
It's amazing.
I come to the West Coast a lot. Yeah.
Well, I'm so grateful that you're here. And I'm like so happy that we know each other in real life.
No.
After being kind of like internet friends for a decade or however long that was. I'm like, oh, you are real.
Yeah.
This is so amazing. What do you feel is making you feel the most alive right now?
I'm gonna cry.
Yay!
My kids. And I waited a long time to be able to say that. The early motherhood was a real slog for me. It was 100 million times harder than I ever could have thought.
Really?
And I thought I would be naturally better at it than I was.
Yeah.
I just thought because I always wanted kids that I would naturally feel capable and confident and like it would be easy. And that was not my experience, which in retrospect really is such a blessing because I have so much compassion for parents and just humans and the intensity of nurturing new life. And my kids are now 6 and 9 and I just love them so much and they are the cutest and my favorite. And I'm just, our little family, I was talking to Mike today and I was like, I really miss you and I really miss the kids. I literally saw them yesterday. Wow, I'm homesick for my family, which is crazy because when I would travel for work, I used to be like, oh, thank God I get to have a hotel room alone.
Right.
No one's asking me for anything.
Yeah.
And sometimes I still feel that way, but anyway. So
I'm
motherhood.
so excited to feel that feeling. Like my brother has a daughter, my niece, and I am obsessed with her. Like I said to her the other day, I'm like, Emerson, do you think I'm going to love my baby as much as I love you? That would be so awkward if I didn't. But it's like the love that I have for her is ridiculous. Like I always cry when I think about her because I'm so obsessed with her. And she's not even my child.
How old is she?
She's 4. Oh. She's the freaking best.
4 is fun.
It's so good. I'm like, I just want to package this sweetness. And I'm so excited to experience the love. The
love is wild. And also just their perspective on the world is so funny and delightful. And they're just so smart. They help me think about things in new ways. They make me laugh. They make me a better person. It's just so great.
I've been surrounding myself a lot with women who have kids, who are entrepreneurs. A lot. Like, we're going for dinner tonight with, you guys all have kids and are entrepreneurs, and it's so amazing. And it's helping me really see how that can happen. Yeah. Because for so many years, I'm like, there's no way. How am I going to do it? It's going to be so hard. And after spending a lot of time with women who have beautiful businesses and beautiful children, I'm like, oh, it's just different. And the biggest thing, someone said to me, babies are good for profits because I
have found that.
Yeah, because you're so focused on like, I'm not doing any shit that's not actually driving the needle forward.
Our business, we had our first 7-figure year when Penelope was maybe a year and a half.
Wow.
Or so. And that was a goal I had for years. And it took massively shrinking the amount of time I had available in the day in order to finally hit it. And then and both of my girls in their own ways, brought with them wisdom
Yeah.
that has helped me in business a lot, but also like it's just made me incredibly efficient. Like my day ends. I can't just be loosey-goosey, like working until
Which
whatever.
is so nice.
Like, day's over.
Yeah, we done.
The end. And I don't go back to it. I know
Yeah.
some people do, but I'm a hard no on screen time after the sun sets. So
I love that
I'm really
rule.
quite obsessed and devoted to my circadian rhythms.
This is fantastic. That's why you're so mentally healthy.
Just like not hopping back on. So if it's not going to happen during the day when my kids are at school, it's not going to happen. The end. Goodbye.
So good. So good. And that boundary is good for them, but it's also so good for your mental health as well. You know, Eric and I have to go out of our way to make those boundaries because we don't have the excuse of kids, right?
Yeah.
So we have like a hard 5:30, we call it wild mode, where we take our phones and we literally put our phones in a box. We shut down our computers. We shut our doors and we're like, okay, we are in wild mode. I don't care if pause blows up over the night. Like I am not responding to it because if I make concessions and I make, you know, it's so addicting to do that.
It's so addicting. I'm realizing I just had a woman on my podcast who founded a company called Skirt Club, and she took a month off and went sailing with no phone for a full month. And after she came back, I was asking her, you know, what changed for you? And she said she just turns off her phone every single weekend, like completely, and is not reachable on the weekends. And I was like, I don't know that I would go all the way there because I have like social plans and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm exploring like, is it a day that's completely not on a screen? Like, I don't know. But I something like that. And I love that you do that hard stop every day at 5:30 as well.
Elizabeth Gilbert does that. She does every single Thursday. She's unreachable. So she shuts her phone off.
A Thursday is so random. It's the
It's
best.
so random. I'm like, okay.
But it's a Thursday. Great.
Well, she was explaining that it was because of her creativity. It's like that's the day where she's creative.
You know, Thursdays are ruled by Jupiter, so that makes sense.
Oh my gosh.
Jupiter is really like the planet of blessings and flow, and it's kind of like the fertilizer planet.
That's so great.
It's like
Maybe she's starting a trend. Let's just do that. Thursdays, baby.
Thursdays.
Don't text me on Thursday. I'm not going to respond because I'm going to be creating. But it's interesting because when I create, I do put my phone away because just the mental gymnastics takes me out of the fucking channel. Like I just can't do it.
Yeah. And do you actually because I like minutia, like, when you say you put it away, does it go in that box? Is it in the other room? Is it in the desk drawer?
It's in a box on my first floor and my creation station's on my second floor.
Is that in your office or is it a separate place?
No. So my office is for my office. My office is for like, I am CEO Sam in my office. It's like running the team, running webinars, doing the thing. And then my creation station is on the same floor as my office, but it's outside my office and it's like a loft area. So that's where I have my red light and my meditation pillows and my journals and my like smelly things and my sound bowl. And that's where I just like get all witchy and weird. And like, that's when the good shit comes out, you know?
Amazing.
Yeah. It's like every space has its own purpose in our home. So
great.
Creation station, baby.
Creation station. All right.
So I am just so stoked to have you on the show because I feel like when I tune into the women in the world who are really holding the work of wealth with such integrity and doing it from a place of just alignment, you are that woman for me. And it is so epic. Your relationship to money, your alignment, your cleanliness with money, the way you speak about it, the way you talk about it, the way you teach it. You and I share a lot of clients, and I hear from my students all the time how they've taken your work and it has just impacted them in the area of wealth. So I'm curious, what is that inside of you? When a woman is so expressed in her mission, there's some deep thing inside of her that she cares deeply about. So what is that?
So, what a good question. I have my answer. The reason I teach about money is because it's an easy door that pretty much everyone wants to walk through.
Yeah.
I don't really care about money.
Yeah.
Really, I'm here. I work for the goddess, and I am here to get women back in their bodies so that they can access their truest divine power. And money is a good, I'm like, spoiler, it kind of blows up my whole
this is great.
marketing strategy. But
You're like, just kidding. Don't listen to anything else.
Like, once you come in,
Yeah.
it's, you realize there's like a whole universe and it's infinite. And, you know, you and I are very much energetically on the same team. Like we're teaching about energy. We're teaching about embodiment. We're teaching about access to the divine. Yeah. And I was actually on a meeting the other day with some like mucky people in the literary world.
What was that word?
Like, you know, like muckety-mucks, like, I don't know, like people who have a lot of influence and power in different industries.
So good.
And I found myself in a moment of feeling like maybe I shouldn't be there, maybe I wasn't, you know.
Yeah.
But the guy asked me, he was just like, what gets you up in the morning? And I just was like, fuck it, I'll just tell the truth. And I said something very similar, which is basically like, my work is really about God.
Yeah.
And it's about for my experience over and over and over again, and my experience with thousands of people, is that our connection to God comes through the body. And our ability to be stewards of wealth is also an embodied experience. Yeah. We carry wounds in the body, healing happens in the body. And money is just this like energetic representation of our ability to hold and move energy through our life experience.
Sell them what they want, give them what they need. No, it's so good. It's so good.
And also, like, money is great.
Money is great. And
I do think that there's an element for me specifically around generational healing and helping money to heal through awake humans.
Yeah. I dream of a world where more money is in the hands of just really heart-centered, conscious, aligned women. Can you imagine that? Like, if we redistribute the wealth out of the hands of greed and destruction and distortion into the hands of our friendship group, you know, like people like our friends.
Well, and the good news is that what's happening right now is that we are on the precipice of something called the Great Wealth Transfer. And in an unprecedented way, because of demographics with baby boomers, women are going to be in power financially in a way that has never happened in recorded history. More women will have access to wealth than ever before in like the next 2 years.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm like, okay, in our culture, money is power.
Yeah.
And power, of course, can have all kinds of shadow and light.
Sure.
But the power that I speak of is the ability to use our intent to make something happen, right? And so it's such an incredible opportunity. And I'm so glad that I'm doing this work at this time, because I'm like, okay, but getting money in the hands of women isn't enough.
Yeah.
Because so many women have ancestral patterning and just their own patterning of trauma around money. They don't feel safe with money. They feel unworthy. They feel all the different things, right? And so you add money to that situation, it actually just enhances all the old patterning and programs. Yeah. So it's like, okay, can we get ahead of that? Work on healing, repatterning, and creating beautiful spaces for then the money to flow in and be able to, because what we actually also see is that when more money is in the hands of women, it is just stewarded more effectively. Women get better returns when they're investors. Yeah. Women invest in women-owned businesses. Yeah. Women invest to support the environment. All, like, the world becomes a better place when more women have money.
So good. Let's talk a little bit about the healing that needs to occur in the body for a woman to be an exceptional receiver. Because what happens with this wealth transfer if it lands in the hands of women who are like, I am not worthy.
Exactly.
So, like, let's unpack that a little.
And who are disassociated.
Right.
So what I see a lot is women who are great earners or highly successful in some regard. And yet when it comes to money, there's like a disconnect. So it's like, oh, maybe if I just make enough money, someday it will finally feel like enough,
Right.
which will never happen.
Yeah.
Unless there's the infrastructure. And what I'm talking about when I'm talking about infrastructure is twofold. One is the physiological infrastructure to actually feel safe having money in your hands.
Yeah.
And then there's also the literal infrastructure of having systems of stewardship.
Sure.
But the physiological nervous system healing has to come first, because without it, we go one of two ways. One is we disassociate and are avoidant and don't actually steward wealth. And it's like a sieve. It just comes through and then it's gone. Like, it's like, I mean, I've heard people say, I have a 7-figure business. Like, how is it possible that at the end of the year it's all
profit?
gone?
Yeah.
Like, what
happened?
Where did all the money go?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that can happen at any level, right? It doesn't have to be a 7-figure problem, but people think like, oh, the more money I make, that's going to fix it.
Yes.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yes, certainly. If your basic needs aren't being met, more money is going to for sure help.
Yeah.
And then there's a point where then it needs to be something else. And so once we get our nervous systems regulated and feeling safe, which is a journey, that's not like a one and done. Right?
That'll take an afternoon. Okay, carrying on.
Because especially as women, we're dealing with thousands of years of disenfranchisement and brainwashing that we are not capable. But what we actually know is that, like, back in the day, you know,
back in tribal
right?
times.
Or, you know, in ancient Egypt, like the priestesses were the ones who held the wealth. There's significant evidence that Mary Magdalene, for example, was bankrolling all of Jesus's work.
It's so cool.
Okay. So we know how to do this. It's just been many generations of having forgotten.
Yeah.
So that healing is really small, doable parts, titration, where we encounter money we're checking our bank account, we're meeting with our accountant, we're having a conversation with our husband, we're like talking to our kids about how much money they need to go to the movies with their friends, like whatever is happening. Yeah. And then we notice that we come up against an edge, and the unconscious way is to back away, sabotage ourselves, back away from the sale, you know, any number of ways that we will do this, or just be like, I just need to do another campaign and earn
another
more.
Launch, another thing,
right? Spending unconsciously. All of that stuff is all basically your nervous system saying, I don't feel safe.
Yeah.
Because the patterning that we have that's running our behavior is largely unconscious, and it's mitigated by the nervous system. And the nervous system is always tracking for what is familiar. And it wants to keep us in a narrow band of what is familiar because it's trying to keep us alive. It's doing a wonderful job.
It's intelligent.
Of that, by the way.
Yeah. It just...
However, like, if what we're desiring is an expanded experience of abundance that for many people, their ancestors have never experienced, people in their immediate family and community have not experienced, and they've not experienced it before, that's in direct odds with the baseline programming of the nervous system, which is, let's not experience anything new.
Yes. Yes.
And so that's really the game, is like, how do we expand past those edges?
So what are some ways that we can begin to increase our capacity for what we can not only receive, but what we can actually hold?
Yeah.
Because we can receive it, but then we can hot potato it at this. You do know what I mean?
Oh, I do know what you mean, because I have been the queen of the hot potato.
Hot potato queen, right
Earning
here.
has never been an issue for me.
Yeah.
But the keeping, the stewarding, the letting it grow.
I love that word, stewarding.
Yeah, because
God, that feels good.
Like when we talk about managing our money, it's just like,
I hate managing anything.
Right?
Don't tell me to manage anything.
It, and then people say, like, I want to be in control of my money. And I'm like, I think that most women do not need to try to be more in control
of anything.
But stewarding, to me, it's like, and also then people say, oh, you need to own your money or own your wealth. And I'm like, but do we really own anything?
We're borrowing everything.
Right? And then I want to sing the song from Pocahontas.
What is that one?
Well, now I have to sing it. You know the one. We think we know own whatever, or they think they own whatever land they land on. The earth is just a big thing they can claim. Anyway. But anyway, like this idea that anything is actually ours is false.
Right.
And contributes, I think, to clinging.
Yeah.
But stewardship is like right now, it's with me. And then it'll be passing along through to whoever's next. I think about mothering in very much the same way. Like my kids, I did give birth to them. And yes, they are my kids, but like they are their own people. They have their own destiny.
Yeah.
I'm not here to shape them. I'm just basically here to keep them alive.
Yeah. Just don't die.
Don't die, and do my best to support who they actually are. So the energy that I bring to my money is very similar to the energy I bring to my mother.
That is so good.
So it's like,
that is so good.
I'm just here to...
I'm just doing my thing.
I'm just here to hold the boundaries and like make sure they don't walk into the street.
So when you have a desire
Yeah.
for increased abundance,
Yes.
more money, what's the place that you go to? Like, what's your practice of opening up vision? Is it a specific number? Is it an energy? Like, what's your
I'm
practice?
so glad you asked, because I really struggle with the specificity of the numbers. Actually, Mike and I, oh my gosh, it was a year ago. We were on our annual planning retreat. Every year between Christmas and New Year's, we go for 2 nights to a fancy hotel without the kids. And we like do a year in review and then annual planning. By then we've usually done like the business stuff, but it's more on the personal level. And there was a fire alarm in the building. And so I'll never forget, we were on the street with all the fire trucks and like the entire contents of the hotel, all the people.
Oh my gosh.
With the, you know, the and this is a good example. So I'll come back to the story, but this is a good example.
Yeah.
It was an emotionally heightened situation because there was a lot of emotional stimulus and then also sensory stimulus. So I remember it better. Okay. Because that's how our neural patterning work, which you know that, but just like for everyone, this is like how our whole patterning
works. Yeah.
And Mike and I were having a fight because he was like, had this specific goal for our business. And I just didn't like the feeling of nailing down the number.
Yeah.
And he was like, it's because you're scared. It's because you need to think bigger. And I was like, no, but here's what happens. When you say that number, I get contracted. Yeah. Because when I say a specific number, it puts me in my left brain, analytical, cognitive, like, okay, how are we going to do this? And I'm like, no. Because every single big win that we've had comes from a feeling.
Absolutely.
It comes from like, I just feel called to do this. I just don't know why, but I just got it. You know, for example, so I know that you shut down your company, right? With your previous iteration of it, you know, kind of overnight, was very successful. Similarly, in 2023, I pulled the plug on 2 revenue sources, both of which made $1 million together.
Wow.
Together. And I just had to. And it's not because either of them weren't working. Yeah. There wasn't actually a problem. Yeah. But I just was like, it's done. We're done here. Need to do this. And so the way I feel into expansion is more inside out than it is outside in. I don't do a lot of like external, how much are we going to make or what. I just am like listening to the call for what's next from a creation perspective. Yeah. How are we going to serve? What's exciting ideas wise? Yeah. And then I just follow that. And that year when we pulled that plug, it was our first multi 7-figure year. Amazing. Because so good. What was there, and this is really common, those offerings that needed to wrap up were clogging the pipe for the flow that was ready to come through. Yeah. And had I kept them going any longer, we would have stagnated. Yeah. But there is a leap required. Yes. For me anyway.
Oh, this is so good. Okay. So here's my question. I so feel the like getting into my creation station, feeling the vibration, and then my alignment is like, oh, let's create
this product now. And then I bring it to my team and they're like, yo, you're going to fuck the whole thing up if we like do that. And like, that's going to be a curveball.
Yeah, let's talk about this.
Yeah. So yeah, like, so I'm in this like space where like, I don't have an answer for this. I don't have a solve for this. I don't know what to do in this because I have so much creative energy. And there's a part of me that's like, okay, well, don't turn it into an offer or a product. Put it into your marketing. So how can you take all of that pizzazz and all that energy?
Yeah.
Don't fuck the business up.
Totally.
Because I did that I did that last year. I didn't fuck it up. I just launched way too many things that were outside of what I'm here to do, which is breathwork.
Right.
And they were successful, but it derailed from our main thing.
Yes, because it's cannibalism.
Yes.
So 100%.
Yes.
I'm so with you here. And I think you and I, are you an Enneagram 7?
You know it.
100%. What's your human design?
Projector.
Oh, you're a projector.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very interesting. Okay,
Yeah, I
love
know.
that.
It shocks people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That is a shocker.
Yeah.
The best. Okay. Well, anyway, so you and I think, have a similar tendency to just like want to take all of our creative urges and create offerings.
Yeah.
Which I love about us. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's so sweet.
And
so cute.
Yeah. And what I found is the more sobriety, right? Because Enneagram 7s, our life lesson is actually sobriety.
Yeah.
And not necessarily substance sobriety. That's not been my journey. But like sobriety in terms of financial sobriety and also time sobriety.
Time's
and
my thing.
energy sobriety.
Yeah.
Of like, what is actually doable, reasonable, and like, I understand, like, your show is called Can't Be Contained. So, like, even saying the word reasonable is, like, such a buzzkill. But the less I do in terms of offering. So right now in my company, we have one main offering.
So good.
And the revenue keeps growing. The profit keeps growing.
So good.
We were able to make 3 full-time hires this year.
Hell yeah.
And we are working less.
So good.
It's like calmer.
So good.
And then I get to be with my babies, write another book, channel that life force that's always going to be there because there's so much life force.
Yeah.
And the less energy and effort it takes to run things in your business, there will actually be more life force.
100%.
Which is a great time to make babies.
Yes.
Just saying.
Clock's ticking. Let's go.
No, it's not at all. But I'm just saying, like, creation energy is creation energy, and we can use it all sorts of places.
Totally.
But I use my creation energy now. So instead of for derailing my business, because same, my poor husband, he's also my business partner. So in 2012, we launched a program called the Money Love Course. It was $97 at the time. Our first launch, we did $20K. And we were 27 and 28. And I was like, I'm sorry. I just made $20,000 in one day. Like, I thought I was going to die. I was just like, what's going on? So over the next several years, we served over 5,000 students. We did $1 million in revenue with that program. It was like the little engine that could. Yeah. And then I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And Mike was like, I'm sorry, excuse me. This is our lifeblood of our business. And I was like, yeah, sorry. I don't feel like talking about money anymore. And I just did a hard pivot. I pulled the freaking plug. And he, I think if I were to do that again, he would hold harder and be like, absolutely not. But at the time where we were in our marriage, our life, actually we weren't even married we were married. Anyway, regardless, doesn't matter. I just bulldozed him. Yeah. And he was like, okay. Yeah. But then after I took this other journey and wrote Do Less and created the Do Less Planner and the Origin Company and the Origin membership.
Which, by the way, that planner is insane.
It is beautiful.
It is insane. I'll put a link in the show notes to it because I'm obsessed. It's so good.
Thank you. It is a beautiful. She is a work of art.
And
we don't print them anymore. We still have the digital, but I need to figure out how to. I need to figure out how to make that something we do, because selling physical products is like a completely different business.
Oh, yeah, baby.
This is like not surprising to you. Yeah. Anyway, so all that to say. What I've realized, similar to what you said, is that if I can take that life force energy, that creation energy, and shift the way we're marketing things, shift the strategies, and like add all my pizzazz and creativity to social media, the podcast.
Yeah.
And like, honestly, I just like go to dance class and like, you know what I mean? So I'm just saying like, we can channel in other ways, like maybe pick up knitting, start a garden.
Yeah.
I don't know. But like, let's not just
100%
blow up our business
That
model.
was my lesson last year.
I feel you so hardcore because I was, I think, a couple years ahead on that particular lesson where I've been scaling back in terms of the things that we do.
Yeah.
Wow. People told me for years, stick with one main offer, solve one main problem. And I was like, no, it's too boring.
So, oh my
I'm
gosh,
dying of boredom.
Okay, if I'm on the edge, I'm gonna call you. You're gonna be my lifeline. I'm just gonna be like, hold me back. Hold me back, Kate.
Sam, like, just don't do it.
Yeah.
There are so many places that creativity can go.
Yeah.
I mean, you run all these
100%.
incredible retreats.
100%.
Like, there's so many places
it's like
that
we are
can
just
go.
double tripling down on our 6-month breathwork facilitator certification. It's the thing we're known for. It's the thing that we're best in the world at. Like, that's it. We don't need to teach you to become a highly paid speaker or retreats or all these other things.
No. But I love that you are adding those things that like those get to enrich your higher level
100%.
clients. So
100%.
So
yes.
I really recommend like for anyone listening who also has trouble with like not taking action on their ideas immediately and feeling like they're cutting off an arm if they're like not following every creative impulse.
Yeah.
Find ways to give them life within your existing containers.
100%. Or else it feels like female blue balls. I'm like, I gotta get this out.
Totally. No, I feel you. You and I are quite similar this way.
It's actually amazing.
But I just have to say, from the other side, and I know you're experiencing the same way, the ease is insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like that, you know, when you're at a fancy restaurant and you're not supposed to do this, but you wet your finger and you like run your finger around
do that
the
tonight for dinner.
edge of the glass of a crystal wine glass and it makes that singing sound.
Yeah.
That's what it's like.
Yeah.
It's the sweet sound.
I am so excited. I'm so excited. I'm like babysitting my impulses and urges. And I'm like, I started pottery. I went back to dance because I was like, I need to channel this into something. I started cooking again. So we doing it. We're channeling it. But I'm like, man, there's just so much energy that comes through this body.
Also like, whenever it's time for the babies, it's also, that's a great place to channel the energy
100%.
Because when you are making a human, it actually, I'll be interested to have a conversation with you when you're pregnant because like
well, I'm going to be your neighbor, so.
Yeah, perfect. Because I remember when I was pregnant, it was like the pregnancy sucked all my ambition out of my body. And I had a lot of other entrepreneur friends who were pregnant at the same time. And we all were like, weird. I wonder if I'm ever going to want to work again.
Yeah.
It was bizarre.
Isn't that a girl thing though? Isn't it when you're pregnant with a girl?
Oh, I don't know.
So
I've only ever been pregnant with girls.
That's why I'm saying
I
right?
have no data.
So what I hear is that if you're pregnant with a girl, it sucks while you're pregnant only, it sucks your beauty and your creativity. And if you're pregnant with a boy, it makes you more beautiful and more creative. Could be a wives' tale, I don't know.
Okay.
But our friend Heidi, who we'll see tonight, that was her experience. Yeah, so anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love this. Cool.
So the do less movement, which is one of the many things that you're known for. It's like, yes, do less in your business to get more results, but it's just like do less in
general
life. Yeah. So like, where did that come from?
It came from being pregnant. So great question. You're like right on track. I was pregnant with my first and I have never been so tired in my entire life. Mm-hmm. I was like, and none of my old tricks worked, right? So all my resources for success were the following. Try harder, work more, be stronger, or be smarter. None of those things worked when I was just exhausted and a giant pregnant person. Mm-hmm. And when I'm pregnant, I'm huge.
Really? Really?
Yeah. When I gave birth to Ruby, my second, I was 190 pounds.
Really?
Which for someone who's like, whatever, weight doesn't matter, but I'm barely 5'4".
You're tiny, yeah.
So it's not like, So anyway, there was just like not a lot of extra energy for me. And so I came up against, with Penelope, my first, I came up against like all of my programming around productivity. And I remember I was reading that little app that's like, your baby's a lima bean. Now it's a cantaloupe. You know, whatever. You just made the liver, whatever. And I was like, whoa, I just like made an ear. And I didn't have to think about it. I didn't need a to-do list. I didn't have to learn how. I used zero of my cognitive abilities. I didn't use my intellect. And I've been taught my whole life that what makes me valuable is my intellect. Because I was raised in a household that was like very much about breeding smart women. We were not using our beauty or sexuality or anything to get anywhere. It was all about work hard and be smart. And so my mind was blown. And I was like, okay, so I've just made a human being, which is by far the most productive thing I've ever done in my life. And I used none of the skills that I've used for everything else over the last 33 years. And then when Penelope so I also had a rocky birth, really hard first year of motherhood. She was really sick the whole year. It was brutal. And when she was 13 months old, I got my period back. And I was suddenly completely fascinated by the menstrual cycle, like completely and totally. And I started tracking it and I started paying attention. I started learning and I started a little journaling practice that was, what day of my cycle am I on? What phase of my cycle am I in? How did I feel today? And what phase is the moon in? And that practice cured my postpartum anxiety.
So amazing.
Like I was, if I hadn't had more support in my life, I really would have like gone off the rails that first year. And I was so anxious. It was such a mess. And that practice of like coming home to my body and having that predictability saved me. And so then I thought, well, the menstrual cycle is mimicked by the lunar cycle, and the menstrual cycle mimics the seasons here on planet Earth. And if that's good enough to produce all of the abundance of nature, maybe I could use that to run my business.
So good.
So I did. And that was our first 7-figure year.
So good. Your journal planner got me so connected to my period. Because it would be it's here.
The planner came from that journaling practice.
Yeah. It's so epic. It's just so interesting. What it did for me is it made me realize I am a different woman every single day.
Yeah.
And this woman needs something different today.
And they're all beautiful versions of you. They're all valuable versions of you. The problem with our culture is that it has taught us that there is something wrong with our bodies. And that's been on purpose because the female body is one of the most powerful forces of nature. We are, as my friend Sarah Jenks says, we are the slip and slide between heaven and earth.
I just got goosebumps.
Good, right?
I love that. Go, Sarah.
So, of course, we've been talked out of our power for thousands of years. We've been told the menstrual cycle is dirty. We've been told we're crazy. We've been told we're hysterical. You know, all of these things. And then we've been told you need to medicate it away. You need to, go on the pill that's going to make it so that you don't have a cycle. It's inconvenient. It's gross. You need to be like riding a horse and whatever, like all the acid. I mean, that's fine. Like, ride a horse when you have your period. I don't care. But I'm just saying, like what we have not been given until more recently is, hey, this is actually your cyclical nature is a superpower, and you have 4 distinct phases every single month, and each of them is magical. And you can use it to hone and cultivate your creation energy, because if we follow that blueprint of the 4 phases every single month, either with our menstrual cycle or the lunar cycle, everything gets done in its right timing without burnout energy at all. No hustle required.
So good. Yeah, I started to get really clear on the activities in my certain phases.
Cool.
And it's just so crazy how my productivity would increase so much. Like when I was bleeding, I'm so creative. I'm like, I'm a genius. This is amazing. And just like really planning. So what I did is the third week of every single month, I take off of calls and delivery calls. Like my clients know, my breathwork facilitators know, and my mastermind clients know, I don't teach on that week. And I bring in other teachers and things like that because it's my time to just like be in the
Is that your menstrual week or no?
Yeah.
It's just
No, my menstrual week.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes it like shifts.
I know,
though.
because that's what's tricky
Yeah.
about the menstrual
Yeah.
cycle is
Yeah.
like it's a bit of a moving target.
So I still have that time off, and it
Regardless.
sometimes it like
Right.
gets half of it, but that's
But
the
I
time.
actually love that, and I think that's a really practical way. I actually gave a keynote this
Yeah.
morning where I was explaining cyclical planning
Yeah.
to a group of women that this was pretty much brand new to. And I was saying I had a client who was like, yeah, I'm not going to do this with my menstrual cycle, but I am going to designate a week every month for new beginnings,
Yeah.
a week for visibility activities for, that ovulation energy,
Yeah.
a week for winding down, turning within that luteal energy,
Yes.
and a week for menstrual energy. It was totally not aligned with her cycle or the moon, but she
Yeah.
had claimed that space
Yeah.
and it was very effective for her.
Yes.
So I just like permission to do it in
Yes.
your own way.
Totally. But that when you're ovulating,
Woo!
oh my gosh, I'm like, I can do anything.
I know, it's amazing.
It's why?
Well, because the way our hormones are at that time, I mean, estrus, there's like a whole cacophony of things going on. And I'm not a doctor, but I was raised by two of them. So I'm like better at this sort of thing than the average. But like, just to be clear, oh my God, you were so cute. I was listening to your podcast where you were describing what happens with sperm and egg. And you were like, and then the sperm gets like sucked up into the egg and then whatever. And I was like, this is amazing. This is amazing. It's not 100% accurate, but it was like so good and energetically spot on.
Welcome to the Not Quite Science podcast.
So good.
I'm like, something happens like that. I don't know.
But remind me, we'll talk about egg wisdom because I think your people will love that.
Okay.
So, wait, what were we talking about? Now
how
I've
to get
lost my
pregnant.
track.
We're talking about how to make babies. No, we were talking
No.
about when you're in ovulation, why do you feel so? Yeah.
Because of estrogen. So
Okay.
estrogen is like our like feminine energy. I am a goddess. Like that's estrogen.
Okay.
And so during when we're ovulating, we are at our peak fertility, literally.
Yeah.
But we are also at our peak fertility metaphorically because the vast majority of cycles in your lifetime, you are not going to be trying to get pregnant.
Right.
So
Yeah.
for most folks listening, it's metaphorical.
Yeah.
And so what's so cool though is the way those hormones work with our brain is that it makes us the most verbally fluent during that time. I'm not ovulating right now and sometimes I'm
Like, what is
a
the
little
word?
more trouble with words. But if I was, it's
Yeah.
like
interesting.
like you know the right word in the
Okay.
right way and it's just
Yeah.
like bop, 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 bop. It also, you are releasing pheromones at that time and it will make you actually literally magnetic. Waitresses report getting higher tips.
Oh, funny.
When they're ovulating.
Strippers too, probably.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
And so it's fun to kind of pay attention to the way the world responds to you at that time and just let it be.
Yeah.
Like enjoy your magnetism. And then also I recommend around that ovulation time, and really the energy of this starts a few days before ovulation because technically you are fertile for up to 5 to 7 days before you actually ovulate and then 24 hours after you ovulate because that's a sperm can like hang out for that long.
Wow.
Mostly the girl ones.
Mostly the girls.
Anyway,
Stronger.
this is like a whole other
That's really good to know because Eric and I have done the pull and pray for years now.
Yes.
And
Yeah, it is good to know. Not actually a known form of birth control. Just in case anyone's listening for tips.
yeah, not quite
Not
science.
scientifically proven, but like I think largely effective for most people. Okay, so that ovulation time is also like when I'm in that period of time, I really sense into who I think of. And I reach out from a business perspective. So whether it's like a media outreach or somebody to invite on my podcast or someone to invite to be an affiliate or whatever, like one of the things I talk about a lot is Pareto's principle, the 80-20 rule, that 80% of our results come from 20% of our efforts. And I know from doing the analysis that this is a specific way that I teach it in my book, Do Less, that you can really whittle down and use my process to come up with what are the 20% of activities that really bring me 80% of those results.
Yeah.
And for me, one of them is connecting with people.
Yeah.
So like right now, this is in my 20%. This is absolutely some of the highest and best use of me. So I know that when I'm ovulating, I can sort of trust that feeling of who am I feeling inspired to cross-pollinate with from a business perspective. And I will wait to see who pops into my head during that week and reach out.
I love that. Oh, that's so good. I'm going to use that.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun because then also sometimes it's like someone you haven't talked to in a while, or it's a new person. So I really kind of like combine it with that
and so you don't do that sort of like outreach prospecting when you're not in that.
I do.
Yeah, but it's just not as natural.
It's not. No, I really, especially around ovulation, names will just drop in. I mean, I do it when I do it because I do it because that's part of my job.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah.
But there's something about that
So
ovulation
good.
time. Yeah.
I love
and
that.
by the way, if someone's listening and you've had a hysterectomy or you're pregnant or you're perimenopausal or postmenopause or you're a man or whatever situation is happening. I mean, being a man is not a situation.
You know that situation where you're a man?
Regardless.
If that's your condition.
Regardless of your anatomy or gender or whatever, anything, everyone can play with this energy around the full moon because it's the same energy.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. Okay, let's circle back to egg wisdom.
Oh, egg wisdom.
What is that?
Okay, well, that's related.
Okay.
So, egg wisdom is all of our biological imprint that's a metaphor for magnetism. So this applies to all humans because every single one of our bodies was formed this way.
Wow.
So this is the metaphor of fertilization in the human body and how we can be magnetic with using the model of the egg. So once a month during our reproductive years, we ovulate.
Yeah.
We release an egg from the ovary and it hangs out right by the top of the fallopian tube. Wow. And that is called. So that egg, it's so cool. The egg doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
It just sits there.
Just hangs.
And it emits a hormonal signal.
Yeah.
Letting the sperm know where it is.
Oh my gosh.
But the egg doesn't move.
Okay.
So she just sits there
Chilling.
and she sends out her frequency to let her desire know where she is. And that hormonal signal actually speeds up the rate at which the sperm can move to her, the sperm motility. And what's cool about this, just for us ladies to think about, because we live in a patriarchy that has tried to program us to be masculine.
Yeah.
And the masculine is the sperm.
Yeah.
The feminine is the egg. And the egg is not like running down the fallopian tubes, checking at the cervix, being like, where's the sperm?
Yes.
What's happening? She's not texting 15 times. She's not like wondering what. She's just sitting,
She's chilling
and trusting and putting out her signal. And then if there are sperm present at that time, somewhere in that window, they swim up and find her based on her signal.
Yeah.
Which is energetic, essentially. You can't see it.
So cool.
It can only be felt.
So cool.
And it looks like, in sex ed, you see that video. It looks like the strongest sperm wins because they're all like banging their little sperm heads against the side of the egg. And so it looks like the one that like bangs the hardest is the one. No. The egg actually chooses.
Really?
Yeah. So the egg chooses which sperm to let in. And so she has an excellent boundary, but she's also receptive for what is right for her. So we can learn a lot.
I had no idea. That is freaking fascinating.
Yeah. So the egg chooses. It has nothing to do with which one is the strongest sperm.
Oh my gosh.
And then once the sperm is in there, or sperms,
I wonder
in
how
the
she
case
chooses.
of multiples.
Which
Yeah,
one
that's
you-
energetic.
Okay.
I mean, it would have to be.
So
We could
interesting.
dive deeper.
Yeah.
Once it's in there, the egg actually has the ability to repair the sperm's DNA if there's something wrong with it.
What? Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh.
So cool. And I learned this whole concept from my mom, Kate Northrup. So, shout out to her. And she says this funny thing when she explains it, that the feminine principle, we have a tendency to egg things on. Like we improve upon that which we find, which we do.
Yeah.
So that's the egg has the ability to improve upon what she
amazing.
has. And then she and the sperm, now the whole fertilized situation, now have a several day journey to go down the fallopian tubes and down into the uterus and embed into the uterine lining, which will now be its source of nutrients. But on the way, that's a bunch of days. The egg has enough food, enough nutrients to feed both the egg and the sperm that whole time, the whole little package. And so she brings snacks.
That is fascinating.
And so that is egg wisdom. And then also... somebody brought up in my talk today, which I loved. She said she's someone who's experienced pregnancy loss. And she said she was a little triggered by egg wisdom. But as she sat with herself, she realized that actually another piece of egg wisdom that I'm adding in today for the first time, thanks to her, is that the egg also, the feminine also knows when something isn't viable and when it's time to let go.
Really?
Which is what we were just talking about with your business.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Gosh.
So we need to really ask ourselves in business and in life, am I being the egg or am I being the sperm? And which one would be better suited for this
So our
scenario?
eggs need to be on our board of directors is what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow.
It's cool, right?
That is so fascinating. What's cool is like we are in real time, because women-owned businesses, this is such a new thing. It really is.
It really is.
You know what I mean? Like if we look back
100%. No, my mom running her business, you know, she wasn't even like, when she wanted to go to undergrad, and then they weren't even taking women at her college of choice. And it was still a very rare thing for women to become doctors, and then certainly not business owners. So yeah, our generation is, it's new.
It's twisted, you know, and I think we're all sort of finding our way. Like, I feel like we're creating it in real time together, all of us.
And what's weird is that we're doing it on the internet.
Totally.
So that's also bizarre.
It's also
that
so
it's like
bizarre.
Live, but in a very curated way.
Right?
Live, but only the parts we would want you to see.
Live, but you can't see the messy part. Eric and I were talking about like this new concept he has for a show called Behind the Build, where like you get to see it all.
He's in real estate, right?
Yeah, like short-term rentals and stuff
cool.
like that, yeah. And so it's like behind the build, like what are all the messy things? Because it's like we are literally figuring this thing out as we are going. As women, men have more of a model.
Yep.
But for us, it's like, ooh, we can't do it that way. And we've tried and we got exhausted and we got burnt out and the rest of it. We're sort of creating this feminine architecture of what it means to be a woman in business today. In real time. It's wild. Particularly an entrepreneur.
Yeah, particularly. And I think that I'm so grateful to be alive in this time where there's so much collaboration around it, where there's so much sharing, and where people, I mean, not everyone, but like people like yourself are very forthcoming with what they're learning and what's working and what's not working. And like, you know, my peer mastermind I'm in and girlfriends are just like, so like, yeah, I'll hop on with you. I'll tell you all the things. And I just want to say publicly thank you for when I reached out to you about this app that I was going to build that I never ended up building. That's egg wisdom of just like really realizing when it's time to let something go. Sure. But like the generosity, you didn't know me from anybody. And you were like, sure, I'll hop on a call with you about that. I was so kind.
It's like so fun to share wisdom with other women in business. Like I'm obsessed with it. You know, there's so much, you know, because I went on that journey of building an app and like, well, let me tell you, I'm like, if I can save you 10 years of like stress, like I will, like, let's figure this out, you know? And we are natural collaborators. In my business, the best way for my business to grow is through collaboration. It's our biggest revenue channel.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Same
like
with us.
partner.
60% of our sales come through affiliates.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's like paid advertising is more of like the masculine.
I still have not cracked the code on paid.
Oh, dude, I like crack it
Doesn't
and then
mean
I
won't,
uncrack it.
but like I'm like, relationships are a sure thing. I know how to do that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how to do the meta dance.
It's the meta dance, the Mark Zuckerberg. I danced with Mark Zuckerberg for 7 years, and it's sometimes it's good, and sometimes I just get my ass kicked.
Exactly.
And right now I'm getting my ass kicked because it's not working like it used to work. But what I know in my soul to be so true is the two ways I know, this is my egg wisdom, this is what came through. The two ways that I love building my business and the two ways that have worked for so long is partnerships, collaborating with amazing people like yourself and us. Like you and I have so many shared clients. It's so amazing. And I think I'm promoting your launch coming up soon. So like we're gonna continually do more stuff.
Yes.
And then just content, just creating the best freaking content you can possibly make and just sharing it with your ideal and just creating from your heart, your soul, and your fucking vagina. You know, those are the two ways that I'm like, those are a sure thing.
Yeah.
And it's so natural.
Right.
Versus this elusive thing that I don't even know how it works half the time.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And so I think that's one of the big differences between male-owned versus female-owned. It's like we have a natural innate ability to collaborate and to Sure.
Yeah, and whether that's how we're born or whether that's
Mm-hmm.
through, how we're enculturated, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Still same.
Same. What's next for you?
I'm writing a book.
Can you share what's called?
I can't share what it's called,
Yeah.
but I can share it's about women and money in the nervous system.
Oh, heck yeah.
And I'm really excited about it. And I wrote my first ever book proposal. I managed to never write a book proposal before, even though I
How
have
did
2
you
best
get away? I was going to say, excuse me?
I'm literally like the queen of the third door.
Oh, I love that.
I literally, like, my senior year of high school, my friends were like, wait, or I had, not my friends, but people who didn't know me as well were like, wait, I thought you didn't go here anymore, because I managed to, like, put together this alternative high school life that included all these independent studies.
There's always
and, like,
a third door.
There's always a third door. So
Always a
anyway,
third door.
but I felt like it was important for my
Yeah.
own development to write a proposal properly, and it was really freaking hard, and I'm so proud of myself.
Did you write it by
because,
yourself?
I wrote it by myself,
Yeah.
and at the end, I enlisted the help of a book coach because I could not get my ass in the chair to finish it. My resistance was profound, so I
Yeah.
was like, I actually need to pay someone
For sure.
so that I will do this.
Yes.
And she was great.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I wrote it. She sat on the other side of Zoom.
Okay,
and
amazing. She's like, come
made
on,
me.
you got this. You are worthy.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And she's really smart.
That's
so she
so
helped
great.
me make it better.
Oh, good for you.
Anyway, so that's what's next.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And it's like, I don't know. I know you're a writer as well. I don't know. You have not written a book about breathwork. You have.
That's my next one.
Yeah,
my last
I
one was
figured.
Hungry. That my last Hay House deal was Hungry for Happiness book.
Yes.
But it was like a really weird relationship because the book was coming out as I was shutting down my business. It was just the weirdest
So
timing.
tricky.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
babe. I like had such high hopes because you know how long traditional publishing takes, right? So I got the
100
deal. I was
years.
so stoked. And then like it was basically like 2.5 years after I got the deal was when
Right.
I was public.
And then your life
and
is
I'm like,
completely different. And
all I care about is breathwork right now. And I don't like, they're like, get on every podcast you can. I'm like, I don't want to be known as the emotional eating girl.
Yeah.
So I like flopped the launch of it because it's like makes me a little sad. Like I flopped the launch because I just wasn't in it. But I'm like, I don't want to be known as that person anymore.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm sorry, Hay House.
totally.
But the book is out in the world. It's amazing. Like people are getting value from it. But I didn't give it my all.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
And the good news is there's so much more where that came from.
Totally.
I mean, that's the thing
Yeah.
about life force and creativity is the more we use, the more there is.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's
Yes.
the Einstein,
Yes.
energy can
So
either
abundant.
be created or destroyed. Like
Yeah.
there's just more where that came from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love this. Well, this has been so fun. I adore you. I adore the work that you're putting out in the world, but even more so than that, you're just a really fucking awesome human. And I'm so proud to call you a friend, and I'm so excited that I get to share your work with my world.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Where can we get amongst you? That sounded really dirty. Answer that how you want.
You can head over to Instagram. Instagram is my spot to hang out. At Kate Northrup is my handle there. And wow. I haven't said that word in a long time. I have a podcast called Plenty that's all about the different ways to create abundance and explore that in our lives. My books, Do Less and Money Love Story are also great.
So good. You guys take a screenshot of this episode. Let us know your favorite takeaway. Tag us on Instagram and we'll see you over there. Thank you so much.